Is the first. Welcome to the first
Hey.
Why Run Today podcast.
All right.
We are here. Well, we should start because we've never done this before. I don't have an intro. So I'm Ryan Tungseth, founder, host. What do you say? Owner, passion project, driver, driving force. Why Run Today?
Creative artist.
Creative artist, yeah. I don't really want any of those titles. So why run today? We're here to learn about why people run. Why do people run? And to me, it's not about the running because I hate running.
You've mentioned that.
I don't like running. I run because of the other things that I like to do. So
yeah,
I want to be in shape. I don't get to go backpacking every day. I want to be in shape when it's time to go backpacking. I don't want to be dogging it down the trail, right? So I run for the things I like to do, not for the running. Other people love running. So we're here today, Paul Shol. Happy to have you.
Yeah.
I know we've met, we've chatted before,
Yep,
but I know
times.
very little about you and your background.
Sure. Yeah.
I will mention what I know is my wife's a race organizer for a trail run.
Mm-hmm. Coming up.
Yes, coming up in just
away.
a couple weeks. Paul had the course record, and I say had the course record for the first 10 years of the race, and it was taken down last year.
Was it?
It was taken down by 3 seconds, Paul. So I heard you're running this year.
I'm running it this year, and I really want to break my record.
Oh, perfect.
And now this guy's record.
This guy's record.
No way.
Yes.
That gets me more excited.
So I don't remember.
Is he running it?
I don't know if he's running it. He was a high school kid. I want to say he was a senior. So is he back in town or not?
Oh,
it was not by a lot.
Showdown.
So
I hope he is.
You,
this is cool.
So obviously you run because you like to run, and you like to run fast.
I like to run, and I like to run fast.
Okay.
I don't think about the fast part too much, but when you get up to speed and you're moving and you're in a race, it is a fun thing. And the workouts where you're moving fast more than you would your normal runs. Once you get into those and you get lathered up, and that's a sweet feeling.
Perfect. So tell me about let's start with running, then we can get into life a little bit.
Sure.
But where did running start? Have you always run?
Kind of have ran just for fun, I guess, growing up, just in games, sports, Elks Point, family day, doing, races, and kind of spurred an interest in competitive running, and mostly sprinting. I was in track in high school and college, and so I was a power runner, speed, mile and less distance, and played football in college, and so did more of a power person, and then but always had like a touch of endurance. I loved the mile test every year. Sure. In school.
You were one of those kids.
I was one of those kids. Okay. I look forward to that day. I really like to push my boundaries, and I think all those things have developed me into the runner I am today, and always had some of that endurance, like I mentioned, even in just some of the football workouts we do that were more longer distance, and then always had interest in that. And so then after college, I started doing triathlon, and thought that was going to be the cat's meow and just what I was going to be and enjoy. And within 2 years, realized I don't know how to swim.
Okay.
So I'm not a swimmer. And I tried to be a swimmer, but realized that's not for me. And so then I just kept going down the running path with endurance running. And that's what I'm doing now.
Interesting. That would be some crossover with us. My favorite thing, I don't pay to run. That's one of my rules. Okay.
No races.
The only race I do is my wife's trail run. Yep. And I have to register for that, right?
Sure.
But I love the mini sprint triathlons. I will pay to do that because You get a course, right? I mean, there's something there to go do versus a run. Like I can go run anytime, and I really don't. I'm slow, so I'm not setting any age group records. I'm not winning anything. I'm not going to train hard enough on the run, but I can swim.
You're a swimmer.
So I swam in high school, so I love the swimming part, and I love bikes. I love riding my bike.
Okay.
So for me, it's the opposite. See, I told you at the beginning. I don't like running. I do it for the other things. But triathlons I love. I love all three in the triathlon. I like the endurance part of it. Which is why when we talk about running, for me, it's all about the trails. If I'm going to go run, I mean, aside from all my training runs are mostly on the road, but if I'm going for a run, take me to a trail.
Yes.
If I'm going to do if I ever pay to run, it will be a trail run.
Okay, good idea. Yeah, I'm a big promoter of trail running. I was out on the trail in town here this morning doing my loop that I like to run, and I just think there's so many benefits of a trail run over a road run. There's times I'm on the road too. There's benefits of that too, but I'll choose the trail almost every time I can. Until a lot of times it's either the snow that stops me in the middle of the winter or bugs.
Sure.
one or the other. Otherwise, I'll try to be on the trail. So
the bugs can be bad. I have run up in Maplewood State Park. That's
I'm doing the countdown. It's usually middle of June, like late June, where you can't even go in there. And so I'm taking every advantage I can to every time I can. I try to get out there. Because that's just a special place to me for many reasons, running through the woods out there. And I know that the days are limited.
Sure.
They've been so good. I've been running out there for longer than I ever have this calendar year because we had so little snow. I think I did my first run out in Maplewood in like February, and then did a couple runs in March, did a handful of runs in March, and then April and May have just been amazing.
Sure.
So
take me from... you went to triathlons, then now, or from triathlons, so your running career, what'd you move?
Yeah, just progressed up the distances. I don't know what I did next. I think I maybe did a 10K after doing the sprint tries. Then went up to a half marathon. I remember that half marathon. It was the Fargo mini marathon in the fall. And my quads were shot at the end and the next few days, more than I think maybe ever, because my body wasn't quite ready for those distances. And then two, I remember lining up towards the front next to Eric Leffler. I don't know if you know what Eric Leffler is.
I do. Our audience doesn't, so feel free to describe.
Eric is a Fergus Falls native and probably the best endurance runner ever to come out of Fergus. Went to the Olympic trials in the marathon distance, I think twice. Extremely good runner. And so I was coaching track at Fargo North High School with Eric, so I knew him. And so he lined up, and I was visiting with him, and he said, "Yeah, I did a 10-mile warm up into this half marathon." So then he was going to run the half marathon, and he won the half marathon. So
easy, just
that opened up my eyes to what's possible out there. I always remember that moment. I'm like, what? Just starting out into running. So
I know. I mean, I'm not a distance guy. I think you do more distance, but our mutual friend Cody also did the same thing with the Lake Region 10-mile here. Ran 5 miles, ran the 10-mile and won it, and then went out to get his last 13 miles in because he was training for a 100-mile race.
Okay.
I'm like, sure.
I didn't know he did that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Why not run a 5-mile warm-up, win a 10-mile race, and then go get, whatever it was, 6 to 9 more miles in just in your training.
I've got a story similar. I was in tech school for the Air Force in Wichita Falls, Texas. And there's a half marathon in Wichita Falls. And so I decided to run from the base to the start line, which was a half marathon, run the half marathon, and then run the half marathon back.
Okay.
So I did a little over 40 miles that day. I ended up winning the half marathon and setting the course record.
Wow.
At the race.
Okay, so
that was I paid the price. I think I got injured that day, actually.
Okay. But
it lingering injury that took a little while to get over, but that was maybe a little more than I needed that day, but it was a fun challenge.
So take us from that progress then. You ran that half marathon then with Eric. With Eric. Your eyes were opened.
Yeah.
You now have done crazy stuff like that. You just kept running longer and longer distances, or what?
I think I went to the marathon next. I did the Fargo Marathon after that, and just enjoyed the whole process of preparing for something like that, and the consistency it takes. I like that. I like some routine in my life, and anyways, then I met Terry Aldine.
Okay.
You probably know Terry.
I know that name, but again, our listeners don't. So give us some background.
Terry is a dedicated runner to the trail, especially, and an ultra runner. Is the first ultra runner I'd ever met. And I was running with the running group in town and started to get to know Terry, and he started talking about a race he was getting ready for that was 100 miles long, and I just thought, I didn't know there was such a thing. That is beyond my comprehension. And so visiting with him about it, and got me interested and excited about it. And so he said, Paul, you gotta get on the trail. You gotta run some trail. So I think he either I met him out at Maplewood, or he told me you gotta try Maplewood, and so I started running out there, and and that's what really sparked my interest into the trail races, and my initial race of a ultra was a 50K, like a lot of ultra runners will do. They'll take that next step up to the 31-mile distance. Terry was a big influence on me to understand that there's even a possibility of that, and show me what trail running was like. Until that, it was all around tracks and on the roads. And so I'm glad and appreciate him for what he opened up my eyes to. I ended up doing a 50K, enjoyed it. It was hard. I like hard stuff. And then did a couple more 50Ks, and then hopped up to the 50-mile distance. Same thing, same feelings, and then planned to do 100. And that's the big jump. There's a lot.
That's a big jump.
That's a big jump.
Increments. We've talked increments,
yeah.
Right? I mean, marathon is a long distance, but the 50K, another 5 miles,
right.
4 something.
Right. It's something you can wrap your head around.
Right.
Okay, I could go another 5. So then you jump from 50 to 100, and you've suddenly doubled, and it just becomes this whole monster. It's a whole different experience.
So you haven't run 100 yet?
No, I've run 1100s.
Oh, you've run 1,100-mile races?
Yeah.
Wow.
1,100-mile races, and probably, I don't know, maybe 10 to 12 50s, handful of 50Ks. Kind of focus on the 100-mile distance now, and do some 50-milers. But they're taxing enough, and they take enough prep that sure. I do 2 a year.
Wow. So what is it about the distance? I mean, evidently you started as football and the mile guy and the shorter speed stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like about the distance? Distance races.
Yeah, distance is you get to do it for longer.
Okay, so we like running so much we don't want to be
get more bang for your buck, I guess.
Sure.
Okay. I like the continual process involved, and I like the opportunity to think, pray. There's lots of time just you running and seeing what God has out there for you, seeing what He's made. Beautiful places, ran in some beautiful places.
Yeah.
And I kind of seek those things out. I like distance because it, and longer and longer distances, whether it's a run here in town for an hour or a 100-mile race, because of the time it allows me to separate myself from the busyness of life. I like that a lot too. Can get kind of overwhelmed sometimes with how many things are coming your way, and so I think running is a therapeutic thing in that way. A lot of stuff out in life that can challenge us, and so I process a lot of that out on runs, and I like the growth opportunities. I feel physically stronger, feel physically energized, by my runs daily, but also over a long-term distance or a long-term look at it, you just become healthier, and your energy levels are better, after doing it for years and years and months and months. And I like things like that. I like consistency in my life. I like there's just all sorts of benefits that you can find from distance running that you wouldn't think of maybe right away.
I will say that's my favorite part of running is you can't look at your phone and run. Maybe you can on a treadmill, but I don't run on treadmills. But
Agreed.
you can't, I'm not responding to texts, right? I'm not going to check my email. I'm going to leave. That stuff is all back in the car or at home or whatever. Like you can really separate from life.
Right, and it's just you and your mind, and opportunity to think through the things of life, pray to the Lord, talk with Him. I do a lot of that. I do 50% of the time I'm out running, I'm thinking about daily things. I need to finish, or how am I gonna work on this project, or this person in my life, or whatever. And then the other 50% I might be visiting with God and saying, hey, Lord, I got this going on. What can you help me understand it? Can you help me find an answer? Give me a clear sign, and lift those things up regularly. And then also lifting in praise because of the way I feel, how my body's moving. Sometimes I'll say, even out loud, I'll say, Lord, this is amazing. I just, I'm moving how my body's made to move. Yeah. And it just feels so good. It feels so natural, or it might be something I see, whether it's in Maplewood or on the Superior Hiking Trail or in Utah or Wyoming, wherever I'm running. And I'm just like, wow. And you've created a beautiful place, and I get to be a part of it. Yeah.
I think the spiritual component of running is hugely underrated. By people who either don't run or don't have that connection, maybe to whether it's a spiritualism, a lot of people have that and connect that right in running, but there's also something in recognizing the Creator and what you're running through and seeing that, because His creation's unbelievable.
I think He made us to move. I do. I think we're all made to move, and that could be hiking, that could be running. We were given two legs for a reason. If you ever read Born to Run, book about how humans were developed to be endurance runners. They're the best endurance athlete, best endurance animal in the world. And so I think I notice that regularly on my running, that it just, when you get if you're a beginner runner, it may not feel natural. It may not feel good. It may not, may hurt. But there's a threshold that you can get through, that it becomes a feeling of fluidness and naturalness that I think we all have to some degree in all of us. some more than others. Certainly not going to have a NFL offensive lineman be an endurance runner. That's not the genes he was given.
Right.
You know.
But over 40 yards, look out.
Yeah, over 40 yards, he's gonna cream you, and he's running. He's using his legs in a different way and shape. We're not meant to sit and just always be still. And I do appreciate that. I do that a lot too. I do a lot of praying and meditation, and that's a whole different topic. Not related to running, but being still is good too.
Yes, I mean, that's the balance of life, right? I mean, I think that. I have a specific route, like a 2-mile route around my house that I call my focus run route. You were talking about that kind of side of things of clearing, where I'm lucky enough to work at home a few days a week. When I shift in between projects, there's times where I have to go take my focus run because it clears your mind from the previous.
Okay, yeah.
And you move into the second. Now, when it gets really hot, it's maybe not the best because then you're all sweaty and you come back. But for me, I've run it enough. You were talking about you develop those muscles, right? It takes me, if I keep it slow and actually focus and don't just go for a run for a workout, maybe I'm mad and I have to run it fast. But what is it? 15 to 18 minutes, right? Depending on how mad you are. And then you're back and you get back at your desk, right? But there's something about running that does clear your mind. You can't hold on to things. You can think about things, like you said, you can pray, do whatever, have some of those thoughts moving through your mind, but you can't hold on to. There's something about running, at least for me, that makes you let go of whatever the issues were, or whatever problem you were trying to solve is easier to solve when you get back.
Right. And I don't know. Yeah, I may not have an answer or a solution right away to some of my challenges that life presents. Life, we all have challenges, right? We will. That's a part of life. And but I think continually having a medium to process those helps me a few weeks later, a month later, 2 months later, and those challenges become smaller and smaller as I go through that process of working through them. And running is one of those mediums that I use to work through those.
So from the why run today component, if we're going to ask that, why do you run? We've talked about a lot of components of running, but as you've talked through those things, or as we think about it, is there a specific, I run mainly for fitness, or I run mainly because I want to win a 100-mile race, or I run mainly, is there a main why do you run?
If I choose one, there's a lot of reasons. If I choose one, it would be the daily communication with myself and my body and how I feel through that motion and God. I think I don't always think about that and its importance in my running. There's other aspects that I might be thinking about why I'm doing it, but I would say that's the number one reason for me is it provides a daily rhythm, daily motion in a direction towards the Lord, and gives me that opportunity to feel, see, hear, and understand myself and what He has for me in my life.
That's awesome. Let's talk about training. Maybe you don't want to talk about training.
No,
I would love to hear, what do you do? What does because my longest run is a half marathon.
Okay.
I'll do, I get bored I don't mind, I probably do a 10-mile run a month, just as part of whatever training I come up with for myself. But 10 miles, that's a long run for me, and I get so bored. What does training look like for somebody who does 50 miles, 100
Sure.
miles?
Sure.
What
I think
what
that's
do you
an
do?
interesting thought, because I think that's a challenge for some people is the boredom.
Boredom, yeah.
Yeah, once you get a over an hour or hour and a half of running, I don't know how that. Maybe it's just how I'm designed, but I don't feel that boredom. I don't know what the term is where you have inner thoughts just to be able to talk to yourself and so forth. But
Yeah.
that I like that. I do that, and I don't mind that. And it's kind of the way I've always been, I guess. And
Sure.
but anyways, so that I think that helps me be able to train for 50 and 100-mile races, because you do need to run further than a few hours in your
Right.
training, but it's actually, I don't train much longer than maybe 4 hours at a time.
Okay.
That's about a maximum for me. For example, like in the spring, when the snow is gone in Maplewood and before the bugs come, I try to run long out there each Saturday and Sunday morning. If not, that's okay. But it's way more than the reason. And I'll go back to what the last question was about. The reason why I train out there is many reasons. A lot of them to prepare for races. But I go out there each Saturday and Sunday morning because it's just such a spiritual thing for me. It just really is. And to be in the woods, running through the woods, feeling my body move how it's made to move, and so forth. Great place to run and feel that way. But anyways, so for example, for a 100-mile race that I'm getting ready for in September, I'm going to take advantage of these 10 weeks in Maplewood where there's no snow and no bugs, and run the heck out of that thing. A long run Saturday, a long run Sunday, meaning 2+ hours each time, reaching towards 3 hours. 4 hours, I got to plan a bit more of my day, so I don't generally get into 4 hours. But so that's one training. One training specific thing I do is I try to do a couple long runs each weekend as I get into closer to a 100-mile race, and then during the week I'm just doing general runs, nothing too specific, getting distances, and as I get closer to the race, I'll be running more and trying to run more. Life is busy, and can't always do quite what you'd like, and then usually try to run some sort of faster workout once a week, just to keep pushing my aerobic envelope and pushing my my mental capacities that faster, harder running takes. And so that's kind of what a week looks like for me, and they just kind of build on each other. And
Sure. So you have a full-time job.
mm-hmm.
So fitting these trainings in, I mean, you're using your weekends to get most of your base. How do you fit the rest of
I wake up early, and I like waking up early. I used to wake up early when I was a little kid, so that helps me.
Sure.
I think running in the morning works best for me, because I end up finding myself working later, or meeting up with some friends, or there's something else. There's some fishing to go do. So then you drop the run. So if I can do my run before everything starts, that's how I'm effective. So I'm up between 5 and 6 every morning and running, doing my run, doing my weight training and so forth. And what I like to you'd love to add more miles on. I'm starting to figure out what balance I can actually happen and make, and feeling good about that. I think when I was younger, I was kind of a bit more aggressive with pushing to make miles that I needed to make. And I think over the years now, I feel more confident in like where I'm at and don't have to like get worn down as much if I can't quite fit it into my day with different things going on, you know.
Sure. So let's step maybe more towards the personal side, because I mean, you were in the military for our still, or are you done?
Not any longer. Yep.
Okay.
I was in the Air National Guard. Served a 6-year term. Just finished last maybe 6 months ago.
Okay.
Maybe a little more. About 8 months ago was my last drill. I worked on F-16s as a mechanic out of the Duluth unit.
Nice.
And the highlight of my service was a deployment for 4 months over to Saudi Arabia, and lived in a sandbox for 4 months. It's so hot.
So were you running there?
I did run there.
Okay.
I did run there. I worked the night shift. So my shift started at, 7, was it, I forget, it was my shift started at 7 p.m., 9 p.m., something like that. Closer to, I think 9 p.m., but I would wake up at 7 p.m. and then go out and do a run, and the sun was starting to go down, and so to do runs in 100 degrees, I mean, that's what it was, and even at 8 p.m.,
Sure.
So wasn't enjoyable, and it was on a base with all these loud generators and
Okay.
1 mile and a half loop on a tar road with Humvees and guys in uniforms and guns and
Sure.
sweet. This is awesome.
How
How many times around can I do this?
Right.
I was around that thing, I don't know. Yeah, many times.
You were familiar with every crack in that tarmac?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, just about.
Yeah.
Just about.
That makes sense. Now you work for Habitat for Humanity.
Yep.
What's your day job? I mean, I know you.
Yeah. Work for Habitat, and just really enjoy that job. Help making a difference in families' lives with their housing. So building homes for families who aren't able to afford a mortgage. So we have ways in which we sell the home to them, and then it's but at an affordable mortgage. So we have ways in which we can subsidize that mortgage, so then they can afford it.
Awesome.
So,
there's a number of them here in Fergus. I mean,
yeah,
you guys.
64 over 32 years.
Wow.
Not all in Fergus Falls, but in the area. We just finished one home. We're scraping the dirt right now on the next lot, and we'll start next week working on the foundation. It's a rewarding job. It's fun, extra fun, because the community is very involved, and that's one of my big roles, is inviting people to be volunteer builders, and getting businesses and churches to come out with groups and support. That's our labor force, is our community. So it's a lot of fun to be involved in that and engage the community and excite the community for it.
That's really awesome.
Yeah, do that, and then I got a couple little side jobs I do as well through the year, but that's the main thing I do.
Excellent.